Hello everyone, Danny from DePIN Hub here, and today I have Ron from Beamable.
Jon.
Sorry, that's there. Yeah, I was like John, and in my head I started like Ron.
I considered not correcting you, but decided.
Hello everyone, Danny from DePIN Hub here, and today we have John from Beamable. It's gonna be the third time. Hello everyone, Danny from DePIN Hub here, and today we have John from Beamable, a project actually taking DePIN and gaming by storm. We've been actually a few weeks ago on a DePIN Hub podcast. You can also check it out on depinhub.io. But I'd love to get your idea, like why Beamable? What are you guys doing that's so exciting?
So for those that don't know, gaming is a huge business. It's the biggest media business in the world. It's a $200 billion a year industry, and it's almost all online. About 95% of this business is online because they've got matchmaking or online play, cooperative modes, all that stuff. So what that means is you need a lot of game servers. The problem is that thus far in the game industry, they've been spending what we see of about $35 billion a year on very siloed technologies. Amazon, Azure, GCP, they're using proprietary APIs. They're getting locked into ecosystems. And the solution is a DePIN for game servers. So that's what we're doing at Beamable, is we're creating an ecosystem where you have open source software and an open network where the network is community owned by people that have game servers of the quality that you need to actually operate fully commercial AAA games.
I think it's super interesting that if you think about the movie industry, how big it is, the gaming industry is so much bigger than that, right? So a lot of people that are not gamers sometimes don't think about it. And how complex it is to have so many, like thousands and thousands, hundreds of thousands of people playing online, for example.
Millions.
I like to play sometimes like Fortnite to relax. And there's like 200,000 players in like one kind of game, like crazy. And I can't imagine how expensive it is and how complex. How does like Beamable try to reduce this, not just the price, but the complexity of building these games?
Yeah, so the thing that's going to make any game successful is if they can just focus on the fun. So all your time, all your energy has to be invested into just making the game fun. What you don't get paid for is being an R&D department or a computer science department, building servers and technology and all this really hard to do stuff, but you need that stuff to work.
Yeah.
You need it to work reliably, and you have to be able to have it scale up for millions of users. You mentioned Fortnite. Fortnite has 100 million users every month. Like it has an insane number of players. It's one of the biggest games in the world, but that's how big a game can get, right? So we're living in a world where there's almost no distinction between who's a gamer and who's not a gamer now, because there's billions of people who play games. So it's pervasive. It needs online technology all of the time. And that stuff is really hard to do. So the key is just give game developers something they can build on top of without having to worry about all of that hard work, because not only does it cost a lot to do, like I was mentioning, it's around 20% of the budget of the average game developer.
Wow.
Looks like about 37% at Roblox, which is like one of the biggest things out there. So like it can cost you a lot to build that infrastructure and operate it. So it's just the cost, but also the risk is the problem. Because when you build on someone's centralized infrastructure, you're really putting the entire future of your business in their hands, right? So you just spent years building this game and they can decide to take it away. It's funny you mentioned Fortnite because they've been in the news recently, right? So they were kicked off the App Store by Apple. They're actually probably going to be back now because Apple lost a lawsuit in the US, and they're probably going to be required to let Fortnite back on. And other developers back on. But that's an example of like how, as a game developer, you can expose yourself to a lot of centralized risks. Apple, in that case, they don't run servers, but it's a good example of it. So what we really just want to help game developers do is not only lower their cost, but also get to market faster, tap into an ecosystem of interoperable code that they can just bring into their project. But then when you've launched, know that you can operate a game on a sustainable long-term basis, because you've got this whole network of service providers with lots of bare metal and servers that are spec'd all the way up to what would be considered, necessary for a AAA game. AAA game is like these, top tier games like Grand Theft Auto and Fortnite and like the big budget games. So we've spec'd the network for those kind of games so that any kind of developer you are, whether you're AAA or just an indie developer who wants to be able to build on top of that AAA infrastructure, it's all available to you. So yeah, cost savings, risk reduction, getting to market faster. But then I think from a culture standpoint, the whole advantage of this is we're democratizing game development. So I want a future where it's almost just like writing a book or maybe forming a band with your friends and doing music. Like that's how game development should be. So we could have a future here where it's really not an R&D project anymore in terms of tech.
Yeah.
It's much more about the storytelling and the art and the experience. And you just throw a few people together or even just one person on their own who understands their creative vision for a game and then just unleash them with the technology to launch it and not be limited. Like really be able to dream big and create an online service game like a Fortnite, for example. And between online infrastructure like we're building and 3D engines and vibe coding, like there's a lot of convergent tech right now that's going to unlock that creative genius that exists out there in the world.
Yeah, building a game is really hard, right? Like especially right now with like all these complexities. I remember I follow some gaming projects that I enjoy, and I see that the developers, they're building the multiplayer infrastructure by themselves, and they have to host that. They have to, in the end, you have like a whole team just managing servers. And another problem that I think Beamable can help solve is like sometimes some niche projects. That's like a small team of developers. Maybe they move on, they do something else, they retire, whatever. Does the servers go offline? You know, I remember like I used to play a lot of Diablo 2, and then at one point Battle.net was thinking, okay, we're gonna shut down Diablo 1 servers. And this is like very sad, right? Like if you have passion about this game, sometimes you want to play again in a few years. So if you have this Beamable will help with that.
It's an interesting idea because you're pointing at a problem that exists in games generally, which is, you know, when games were just like a cartridge you plugged into your console, like it will always work. As long as that hardware keeps running, you can play the game. But it is true that online games today don't have that same kind of sustainability because of the fact that servers have to run. So the answer is, I don't know in the short term, but longer term, if we can create infrastructure that's easily accessible so that games that kind of reach that state of being more of like a legacy game in the market, if you have the option of actually spinning up servers and providing all the tech that allows the communities who really enjoy that particular game to operate it, yeah, I think Beamable will play a role within that because it has been a problem that online games basically just completely go away. So I hope that that is one of the many benefits of DePIN. And that's what's exciting about DePIN, because sometimes people get caught up in like just lowering the cost of a particular type of infrastructure. And it is almost universally true that it's almost always lower cost because you align economic interests a lot more convergently when you build a DePIN network, and that tends to lower hardware costs. But to me, that isn't actually the biggest benefit of DePIN. DePIN is about democratizing and innovating and unlocking new kinds of solutions that people can have. And in gaming, it might be your example, for example, where we can enable infrastructure to allow games to carry on that otherwise maybe they would have had to get shut down by the company because they can't afford to run it anymore. Or maybe it'll be the next person who wants to create a Stardew Valley, for example. Stardew Valley was a game made over a course of, I think, about 5 years by one person.
That's crazy, yeah.
Using girlfriend financing. He basically just lived in his girlfriend's house for 5 years, and she put up with him, but he eventually shipped a game that I think has made him tens of millions of dollars.
That's a lot of money.
So, like, maybe it's the next thing like that, but with much more online immersive worlds and things like that we can bring to the table. You don't have to limit your creative ideas to what you, as one individual developer, might have been limited to only a few years ago.
For sure. And where are you guys right now, and what's coming soon in the next year?
Yeah, so where we are right now. So first of all, important to understand that our platform is battle tested and games are running on it. So it's not like a future, like we're going to build everything. There's around 100 games launched on the platform, a couple million people playing those games. And it's also not just Web3. Like that should be clear too, because I think the natural assumption is we're Web3 tech, so it's for Web3 games. Yes, we have some great Web3 games on there, but it's actually mostly Web2 traffic. So we service demand in the entire game industry, not only Web3 games. That platform exists, as I said, people are using it. It's been about 5 years in development, so it's out there and it's product market fit. But the next thing for us is launching the DePIN based on the game server technology stack, the orchestration technology that we've created, and the protocol, the first steps of the protocol and the TG later this year. Don't have a date yet, but that's all coming in the near future. And Beamable.network, that's the place to go if you want to learn of the plans there, or be in the questing platform.
Yeah, I think like especially when I talk to founders, I see like what is the business model, right? Like I really want to see DePINs that are having like a path for profitability, actually money coming outside of crypto into the project. And that's like something that didn't really have a lot in crypto before DePIN, right? It's like a lot of DeFi moving money. And this is really exciting. Also that the fact that DePIN is not just one vertical, it's like so many ideas of decentralized infrastructure. And I think what Beamable is doing is really, really amazing. And I'm going to definitely follow you very closely.
Thank you.
Where can people go to know more about the project?
Yeah, so if you're a game developer, just go to beamable.com, download the SDK. It's free to use. You can start building your online game. If what you're interested in is node operations, the community aspect of it, the token that we'll be launching later this year, go to beamable.network. That's where the white paper and the tokenomics and all that stuff is published.
And more links, you can go depinhub.io/project/Beamable. There's all the links there as information about the project. There's a great podcast interview that we did a few weeks ago. And yeah, man, let's keep on building. Really excited to have you here.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks.